Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have pen and paper because I'm going to explain to you something that you weren't aware of.
My problem!
Hello and welcome back to the show that's recorded live in a basement bunker fallout shelter somewhere. This is Tinfoil Radio, talking about all your favorite conspiracies. I'm your host, Jake Williams, joined with...
Tyler. I'm not going to get my last name.
Why?
Well, because it's secret.
It's on the cover art.
Oh, well, Alan, then.
My co-host, Tyler Allen,
This
everybody.
basement, this has there's a lot of canning been done in this house. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're talking about, but regardless...
I hope those are peaches.
Regardless, this is the first foray into flat Earth, and there's just so much to this conspiracy that I can't hold it down to one episode.
Yeah. This will have to be kind of a whole...
It's an ongoing series.
Wow. Okay.
This is part 1 of the Flat Earth Chronicles. We will be talking about the documentary
Behind the Curve.
And if you haven't seen it, it's on
on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Go watch it and then come back and listen to this.
Actually, you know what?
Because we're going to talk
Seriously?
about everything in this movie.
Pause it. Pause the podcast. Go watch the movie. And literally see if you can do it without yelling at the screen. Because I couldn't. And take notes, because I did. And we're going to talk about it. So go ahead and go.
Yep.
We'll wait.
Yes. Press pause. Do you think they're back yet? Oh, are you open the door?
Hello? This fucking basement is creepy.
Yeah.
Let's do it not from this basement again. Cool. You guys saw the movie? Awesome.
Yeah, what a movie, huh? Glad you're back. Anyway,
Do you believe what your son...
we had so much fun talking about this movie that down the road we're going to make a commentary track for it because it's just been so much fun because it's a really good documentary. It's well made. It's entertaining throughout. It makes you kind of question your morality with people and rationale with people that...
Yeah. It made me, one of the physicists, kind of the counter argument, I guess, which is more the what the hell's wrong with you argument. But he said something like, he was talking about how the people who, believe this, you don't want to just be super mean to them and stuff.
Right. You run
and
into that
made a
issue.
good point.
Yeah, I don't... This is what I said at the first episode.
But, dude...
Was most of the time I'm not trying to make fun of someone, and I'm trying my best to just present what they have. And, yes, sometimes it's inevitable we're going to run into that situation where we might be making fun of people.
You know what the best twist in podcast history is? Last week when we did the whole birds aren't real thing.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, out of nowhere, Shyamalan. It's totally satire. Oh, but dude, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that is not the case here.
No, this is all a real conspiracy theory. There's splinter groups within splinter groups within splinter groups.
Do you have any scientists in your group? No.
There's literally a part in this documentary where he talks about the life of Brian, the scene where they all start worshiping a shoe.
I get it, but then he's...
Which is how they got so many different groups.
Somebody uses the goddamn word science-ism as like, oh, it's a religion. You've been indoctrinated.
Oh my God, that was the worst.
And then they make fun of the whole Neil deGrasse Tyson bit.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you can just drop a microphone and say that's gravity. And then somebody's like, bitch. And like, yeah, that's gravity, bitches. And it was like, yeah, because that's fucking.
It's real.
It's basic fucking science, people.
This is one of the few times I think in a conspiracy theory where it's just so obviously a conspiracy theory, but people don't get it.
It's obvious. You know what? To me, it's obviously a conspiracy that people do believe it.
You think it's all?
And,
do you think people don't really believe it? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I do believe that they believe it, but they've been, manipulated. Not us.
Yeah,
They've been manipulated into being distracted and fucking up their whole shit for some damn reason. I don't know, maybe they're super human supercomputers and they're trying to like distract them from taking over like the world.
Well, let's get into it. So this is the Flat Earth Chronicles.
Not the case, folks. You saw the movie.
The Flat Earth Chronicles Part 1, Behind the Curve.
I just got that checked out last year.
Your colon?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good for you, buddy.
Oh,
how is your colon?
It was 3 years ago. Apparently
3 years ago.
super duper.
I'm really worried about the days when I have to get a colonoscopy.
They were like
I'm not looking forward to that.
They were like, after a little while, they were like, dude, you are like literally never gonna have to wear diapers.
Anyway, Behind the Curve mostly centers around the Flat Earth Society, and Mark Sargent is kind of our main character in this story.
The sad story.
I don't know about that. I think by the end of the movie, I was kind of pulling for him a little bit. To be honest, I was kind of happy for him.
Sure.
I think
if Patty
I'm
Steer
so
just
much-
wasn't toying with his emotions.
Yeah, she cucks him. Anyway, we'll get to that. So it starts with his whole journey with the Flat Earth community, because
Descent.
one day he just decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna make a couple YouTube videos which horribly edited, by the way. For 2015 standards, he could have done a lot better. But anyway,
Well, he's just learning.
and regardless, he makes these like basic like slideshow. Like it's a VO over a different slideshow of things for Flat Earth. That's
Right.
kind of how he gets his start, but he got his way into the Flat Earth Society, and that whole section of the internet really embraced him and liked him a lot, which, that's what it kind of boils down to with Mark Sargent's arc throughout this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to be accepted with a group of people.
Yeah, and I think that's a common theme that you see in a lot of these folks. And I mean, there's nothing really wrong. I mean, there's this one lady towards the end, and she was talking about how she lost like her brother and sister, and like two guys that she was dating who she wasn't dating. And I don't want to say I felt pity, because that's not right, but I did feel like, man, that sucks.
No, it does, yeah.
But honestly, lady, what do you expect?
Yeah, that's the issue you run into. It's a thing where you go back and forth with it, where it's like, I do feel sorry for these people, and not in a looking down way. I feel sorry because they're good people, and they
really want to believe in something, and they really want to be accepted by a group of people.
And that's what it is. That's
You know
all
what?
it. That's all it is.
If you guys want to make it like a satire, like the birds aren't real thing, and still hang out, fucking go for it, dude. I don't care.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because
It feels like it's something bigger. Well, you hope it is, because God, this is a fucking sausage.
well, no. If you
fest at
think
this.
about it, this way, Tyler. If the Earth is flat, you feel more significant, because then you have the idea of maybe this universe isn't as big as we
something
think
that
it is.
that not a lot of people know.
Right, and
Yeah.
you feel like you're in the center of everything.
Well, okay, so
Versus a floating ball in space. You know what I mean?
or we're in a terrarium.
Yeah, that's
That model was kick ass.
That's essentially what Mark Sargent believes, his form of flat Earth belief, which it's amazing there's so many different ones.
Well,
But his is essentially we live in a terrarium.
it's
A
daytime
giant dome.
on the Western Hemisphere, because the Western Hemisphere is at the bottom of the hour. And so is the sun. It's a fucking clock.
Yeah, it's a giant clock.
And then
That's
he
what we
actually
live in.
shows us, you know what I made? A coffee table clock with the flat Earth inside it. And it's like, Like, you're a fucking.
See, you go
it's
back
hard
and
for
forth.
me. It's hard for me. See, here's
It's
my.
a good documentary. 'cause
Yes,
you,
it's a
you
great
really
documentary.
care about these
but
people.
here's the problem that I have. A problem that I have with these people is that they're talking about it, like, especially the dude with like the semi-shaved head that they just keep showing him on that couch.
That guy is a jerk. That
He's
guy
a
is
douche nozzle.
Yeah. The fact that
He started talking about
The night-
transgender.
when he started doing that and when he harassed that NASA worker, that was not cool.
Right?
That's not cool. That was too far. Like,
Wasn't he the dude who went up to the lady in the car too?
Yeah.
That's how you do it, man. That's how you get
spend it.
shot,
Yeah.
bro.
So anyway, let's let's kind of keep going through the movie. So
Yeah.
he creates these YouTube videos. Eventually, he starts getting put on these flat Earth podcasts, which it's amazing.
It's
and
hard to believe that
I want to
exists.
listen
It's
to
a
some of them.
thing.
Here's the thing. I was doing research
Yeah.
for just flat Earth in general, and this is where I run into the idea of like I have to do this as an ongoing series.
Right.
Because there's just too much crap. There's YouTube videos that are like 3 to 4 hours long. There's a surprising amount of podcasts on this topic. So I was like, you know what? We're going to stick and focus to one thing, and it's going to be Behind the Curve. We will talk about some of these podcasts down the road. Patricia Steer's getting her own episode in this show. It's going to be just fantastic. So
She's such a piece of work.
this is we'll get to her in a minute because Tyler wrote a lot of notes
There's a
about
lot
this.
of things that I would add on to the end of a piece of when describing her. There's a lot of things I would add to the end of that.
Anyway,
I won't go through them all right now.
Anyway,
I'll leave you.
so he eventually gets the notice of, as we just
Eviction?
mentioned,
No.
Patricia Steer, who is the creator of the podcast Flat Earth and Other
hot potatoes.
Other Hot Potatoes. Oh boy.
hot potatoes.
And this
melts
is- this
in
is
your
what we were talking
mouth.
about earlier, too.
Yeah.
Because this also follows Globebusters YouTube and all that, but
Okay.
the main focus is Mark Sargent.
Right.
And the way his relationship with Patricia Steer gets really weird because he eventually guests more and more on her show and they build a friendship, which it's fine. I don't have an issue with it. It's just really awkward because I think he likes her a lot more than she likes him. And she just wants to be friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh man. He's not really getting cucked. I know I said that earlier. I'm just joking. Like, it's okay
Yeah,
for
no.
women to not feel
Of
like they
course.
need to date men. It's totally fine with
No,
her just wanting to be his friend.
And here's the thing: is like it may be, it may very well be kind of one of those dependent, situations, relationships, where it's codependency, and it may very well be, and you know what? I guess if they're both happy with the arrangement,
They see like they're still friends.
cool.
They still hang out. So
It's
I
just
think
the
it's
couple times he jokes about it, you're kind of like, oh man.
Well, then there's that scene. Oh, so okay, we're gonna keep going with this theme. Eventually, they do decide to meet each other. She lives in Houston, right?
What?
She lives in Houston.
Yeah,
right?
and he lives in Seattle.
So she went to Seattle one time because she's like, well, it wasn't like a date or anything. I thought I was gonna move there. Which, come on, lady. Come on, Patricia. Again, it's totally fine if she just wants to be friends. But I feel like she was kind of... playing... I don't know. What's the phrase? There's some... Cat and
Playing
mouse.
with his emotions.
Playing with his emotions kind of thing.
Why are you playing with my emotions, Smokey?
But it's okay for her to say that... Well, she would have just been like, it was a date, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't...
No, she made it
'cause
very
that
clear
happens
that she was
sometimes.
going to Seattle, and she'd already been considering moving there before.
Which I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe these people because they believe in conspiracy.
And then there's a part, and then she just gets into the whole
Yeah, her arc gets really weird in this, but so
dicey.
any-
You know what? Her
any
character.
regardless,
Dicey.
they build a partnership that is the whole big part of this movie,
Big whoop.
and there's a brief mention of Globebusters. Well, not brief. They also have a storyline in this where they're trying to do their experiments, which I love how they've got you have Mark Sargent,
Yeah.
who's the mouthpiece
Uh-huh.
in this public figure, and then you have the Globebusters who are trying to be like the scientific group, like the big guys, and
So if you put a laser on one
their
post,
whole thing.
and then
First, no, the best one, we're skipping
somebody
over
in the
that.
middle will tell us.
Tyler.
Sorry.
The best one they did was the first one when they bought this really expensive level.
Yes.
And it's
We got it
supposed
for $20,000. It's supposed to be super, super
and
precise.
it says, okay, this
well,
is how
it's
you
telling
can.
us that there's curvature.
Well, that's what I mean.
Oh, shit.
You're
So
burying the lead.
Yeah.
They say it's 15 degrees.
Yep.
And then that's what it has to be for the Earth to have a rotation. If it's not 15 degrees, there's no rotation. They literally open it up, and it says 15 degrees.
So then we put it in a bismuth container. Then we just jammed it into some fucking mashed potatoes and shoved it up a homeless dude's butt.
You know what?
And then we got that fucker to work the way we wanted to.
Oh, my God, you're
Sorry.
blowing out your microphone.
Sorry.
But yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what it was. It was like, oh, well,
Well, let's try this.
Yeah, and while this is happening, you have a guy that's like a science writer. So I imagine he works for like a magazine.
What does that mean?
He probably works for like a
I
website
totally put the word fiction in there without even thinking about it. I was like, oh, he's a science fiction.
No, yeah, I
writer.
think he probably writes for like Wired or something.
Boring.
I know. Anyway, he's
Science.
explaining
Who believes
why
it's- Sorry.
these experiments don't work.
And it's fun.
And the whole time that they're doing this whole thing with the level, why would you spend $20,000 on something that you could just, I don't know, stand outside? If you look outside, clouds move. Why is it doing that?
Well, it's the display case. It's the display.
It's like the Truman Show.
That's the best way I can describe it to people. You know, I mean, if you think that there's something there, but then you know, if and my favorite was that this thing has been going on for like 500 years or 450 years. We've been taught about the globe.
The most modern one was it was in the 19th century, and like the grandfather of this modern flat Earth theory, he's gonna have his own episode because his whole career is weird. But regardless, we're back to talking about Behind the Curve, which again I thought was a great movie. I really dug it.
Yeah,
it was good stuff. So we meet with the Globebusters, and then this is where we start to see more of people from the scientific community. And they talked to an astronaut named Scott Kelly, which was one of my favorite characters in this.
Yeah. I did get paid extra $5 a day for being in space.
I think I first heard about Flat Earth when I was in space.
I can't believe I'm talking about this.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, how long has Game of Thrones been around? Okay, so this conspiracy has been going on for 450 years, which they didn't have the technology to do so back then. A. B. Game of Thrones has been around for what, 10 years? 20? And the
2010
guy,
maybe,
and
yeah.
the guy is describing the Great Wall of Ice that is the South Pole as a
like Game of
200-foot,
Thrones,
like Game of Thrones style,
like
it's
the wall.
Well, what was it called before that?
Just a sheet of ice.
Is George H.H. Martin just a damn
R.R.
ripoff
Martin?
of whatever?
H.H.
Hey, I got two middle names. Whoop-de-doo. I'm from New Hampshire also. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
My
J.R.R. Tolkien. Shut the fuck up.
No, my first thought when you said George H.H., I thought you were going to say like HHH, and I'm like, he's Triple H.
Fuck yeah, you want a piece of this?
I'm the game.
I'll fucking finish Fire and Ice when I fucking feel like it. Like, whoa, dude.
He just spits water.
Man, that was a live show because he was cussing so much. That was not TNT.
Anyway, back to Flat Earth. Let's talk about Patricia Steer, because she slowly emerges as one of my favorite characters. And I know these are real people. I know they're not characters.
Steer.
But I like they're Flat Earth people. They're characters. They're interesting people.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not even talking about the guy from NASA.
Math Powerland.
Math Powerland.
Who used to be called Matt something.
Matt Hoyland, I think, was his name.
Whatever.
But yes,
Douche Nozzle Supreme.
What was his name? Math Powerland?
I think his name was Dildo Fart Spray. I think is what his name. Like, I'm gonna come up with a really dumbass. Like, it's like Iron Eagle, right? It's not your name. So I'm gonna call myself Math.
It's Math Powerland.
Right. That's his. That's his
made up.
assumed-
That's his
yeah.
writing. Yeah, it's
But
his
what's
stage
his real
name.
name?
His real
Matt.
name is. Why don't they have it on here? Let's see. Yeah, the curve.
Fart Spray.
I'm pretty sure it's Hoyland. I think it's Hoylan.
The point is first of all, what the hell does he do?
He said he worked for NASA,
Yeah, he was an artist.
which.
What?
Yeah. Well, they have to. Well, that's the thing is when you take these. There's more into this than you think. Like with the.
I have like an ice cream headache type of thing going on right now. Ouch.
just thinking of how
Because
this
he's
works.
just like okay, so like
So probably a low-level guy.
totally.
Without going into it, sometimes maybe they need
I was
somebody
getting
to.
a bagel at the commissary one day, and I'd never been down that far in the Corps before.
They fired me, but I worked there for like
I
6
saw
months.
fucking aliens.
So this guy claims to be like the godfather of modern flat Earth because I don't even know, what did he even do? It looked like he was doing like this weird stand-up thing at one point, didn't it? Like he was like sitting on a stage,
Yeah, well,
like explaining
I
flat
think,
Earth.
I think a couple people before like he was widely debunked as an idiot were like, yeah, you can come speak at our college.
Yeah.
And now the rest of his videos are him in some weird apartment and some chick in the background
Oh,
playing
like
on her
these
iPhone.
weird live streams on YouTube.
And it's always who is that?
Yeah, what is? Well, he did that one that like it was just some random dude, like looked like he was at backstage at a concert or something. He's just a weird guy, and he got jealous of the fame. Like, what started the beef between him and Mark Sargent? Was it because Mark was getting more notoriety?
I think you can actually just find a lot of that in the fact that he renamed himself Math Powerland.
You mean he's just a little bit narcissistic?
I think he's a fucking turd. I think he got hit on the head.
Which,
and
by the way,
I don't need. I don't need to
any
make fun
sorry,
of mentally
sorry.
ill. Yeah.
I have to insert this.
If it is a mental illness that he has, I don't want to make fun of him. But if it is, honestly, dude, get some fucking help. 'Cause
Anyway,
wow,
I took a picture of it on Netflix when it
he's
showed
clearly charming enough to have a long-term relationship with that girl in the iPhone. So
well,
you
listen,
know, whatever.
just listen to this. Anything that you see of Math Powerland is archival footage because they couldn't get him on the documentary.
Yeah,
because
this is
I
awesome.
took a picture of this so I wouldn't mess this up. When asked to appear in the film, Matt, his real name, stipulated that he receive $5,000. 12.
Cheap.
We're not even close to being done,
No,
man.
dude.
12% of profits, creative control, a guarantee that he would be featured into 25 to 50% of the film, and that we support the unverified claim that Mark Sargent is secretly a Warner Brothers executive using an alias.
And I want a set of Russian nesting dolls.
And then it just says, we were unable to meet the demands.
It's cheap,
Jesus.
dude. $25,000. And dude, are you okay? I can imagine it being like, this movie's gonna be fucking big. 12%, 12%. That's like 12% of like Star Wars. Like it's not even 12% of Arby's, dude. Okay. And
I mean,
I'm,
documentaries
and I'm not talking
make
about
money,
Arby's the
but
company. I'm talking about the one down the street from
Yeah.
you. That one branch
so he's a recurring character, and at one point
character. I
he
like that.
accuses Mark Sargent of working with Warner Brothers in Hollywood
You idiots.
as an
That's my
executive.
favorite when he just says that. And, you idiots.
And then he proceeds to tell the story of how Patricia Steer, Mark's friend and collaborator
Is a
on that
dirty,
podcast,
dirty whore.
calls her a actress, calls her a like deep state
A
operative.
neo maxi zoom dweeby at one point.
And so that starts this whole wave of people that actually like Math Powerland.
Mhm.
And it convinces all of them that she is this terrible woman. And I want you to get in your notes that you took from
Oh boy.
because this
Okay.
was your favorite part of the movie.
Well, I think so I watched part of it today, and then I had to run some errands, and then I watched most of the second half before you got here, and then we watched like the last 10 minutes at the same time. And at some point, she started talking, and I couldn't. I mean, we're probably like 20, 30 minutes in, maybe about halfway through in the movie, and they start like talking about blah blah blah, and she starts talking about how people are saying different things about her.
This is kind of where Patricia Steer,
Just becomes a turd.
pardon the pun, steers the movie in a direction.
I can't believe they took my name Patricia and like somew made it like that.
You got your mic.
The word CIA is like in the name.
Well, yeah, the last
Patricia.
3 letters of Patricia are CIA,
I never
Tyler.
thought I would be doing that.
It's right in front of your face.
But my favorite is when she's talking about what people are saying about her, and literally,
let's
it's
talk
like,
about this.
it's an excuse for her to like. I'm a reptilian. I'm in the CIA. I drink blood. I'm a super badass. I'm Jesus. I totally invented math. I killed Godzilla. I invented communism. I am the one who farted in the church. And it's just like
okay, the last few were a little editorialized.
You know what? Actually, the first 4 were actually quotes from her. The last like 19 were just ones I made up because literally she was
you
like,
could believe that though.
and you know what else people say about me on the internet? That I have a fucking huge cock.
Yeah, she did that, and then
You get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, but she
That I'm super attractive.
she goes
I
on
mean,
to
come on,
that.
people.
It's a very vain segment of it. It's like, oh my god, this woman, because she's like, she has this weird pride to being like her title of the hottest flat earther. It's like, but you're still a flat earther. You're still. So anyway, we get into that.
If there
They
was
say that she was steering them because her last name was Steer. They did stuff with her name, which I thought was silly. Like, and this is the issue you run into with these conspiracy theorists. And this is where we always run into is they want to believe something so bad they don't realize how stupid some things sound.
yeah,
Like Patricia CIA. That's really steer. She's gonna steer us into globe loving.
And then my favorite quote, and I believe I'm quoting literally because I just watched it, but she's talking about, and it's gotten to a point now where I don't believe in anything that happens nowadays. Like, okay, just for example, take the Boston bombing. Like, I just won't believe that unless I'm actually there. My leg got blown off, and I'm just like,
that was one of the scenes of the movie that I thought was kind of heartbreaking because it's like. I
you
hate,
really believe that?
Yeah, it's sad that someone really thinks that way.
But then she starts talking about how everybody's getting on her case because, oh, well, you're not real and you do this and all this stuff. And it's literally, she's talking about the people saying that she's not real the way I'm talking about her.
Right.
Like with the mountains of evidence before you, why do you think I'm not real? Why do you think the earth is flat, person who is not smart?
So yeah, that whole that's so frustrating because these people are likable. Mark is likable.
Patty Spears not that much.
You don't like Patricia?
Math Powerland is not that.
No,
likable.
he's not. But Mark is.
The dude, like the second dude they talked to, I can't remember his name, but we talked about
the one
him.
about who harassed the NASA worker. Yeah,
And
that guy's
he goes in
that guy's
like
a douchebag.
anti-vax. And
Yeah, because then
it's
he
just-
goes, and that's the thing.
It's
and
a whole thing.
they also point that out if that's what's worrisome about flat Earth to scientists is they worry that if flat Earth is the like gateway drug to other conspiracies, you know what I mean? Where if you can't even believe in the concept that we live in like a spinning ball in space, and you want that to be that's just there's nowhere to go but up and crazier and not believe anything that the government tells you. If you can't even believe that we are in a planet that is round, there's no way you're going to believe
How come
anything.
we can't feel movement? You know, when I was 5 and still shitting myself occasionally.
At 5?
Maybe. Probably pissing.
You know, if I'm being honest, you don't really get a grip on your bowels till about
You get
7 or
the
8.
point I'm trying to make. I'm 5. I think Chewbacca is real, and it's
Do you
totally sensible for me to believe that I live on a fucking globe. And you're like in your 50s. You know, I started watching videos. That was your problem.
And
That
I don't know
was your
how.
problem, man.
And I don't know how people watch.
Did you
these
see the
videos.
flight patterns? I still don't get that whole thing.
Yeah.
What does that prove?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, Tyler. Like,
I
and
have to watch one of those videos to understand what the fuck they're talking
in doing
about.
research for this is why I told you I have to split it into so many episodes, man, because there's just so much there, and it's all nonsense. Like, it's not that,
Oh my god, it's nonsense. So
but some of it is so boring. Some of them present it like it's like real scientific theory, and I feel like I'm sitting in a class,
terrarium.
and that's how it convinced those people, because it seems like a real lecture. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you're sitting in a terrarium surrounded by a 200-foot wall of ice?
that sky you're looking at, it's a dome,
It's a dome, and there's a display.
and we're living in the Truman Show.
It's kind of like that. It's like a 20-mile studio, but it's actually much larger than that. I would hope so. There's 7 fucking billion of us. Almost 8,
man.
probably.
So, there's a section with Mark and Patricia where they actually go to NASA. You
Yeah,
remember this?
And they're in the rocket.
So, and they're live streaming it for the podcast.
Look at the watch. It's broken.
Everything's
The
broken.
display's broken. It costs like $30 to come in here, folks.
This is broken.
What the hell?
Everything's broken.
I mean, this proves that the Earth is flat. Like, what?
This proves, because all this stuff is old and nobody uses it, and it's just for display. That proves that the Earth is flat.
I was at Target the other day, and they had Legos on clearance, which totally proves that the mob killed JFK. That's what you sound like, you idiot. Look, the watch on the display is broken. You know how long you know how often they clean that? When the guy gets around to it, if you know what I mean. Never.
So,
Sir, there's a broken watch
then they
in the display.
which
I don't give a shit.
I'm pretty sure they broke into an employees only section of
Something,
yeah, because there's nobody in there, and they're standing by this
Not
rocket.
marked.
So Mark decides to give a speech about flat Earth in front of a rocket, which I wish he could just understand the irony of that. Rockets only work because of the curvature. You know what I mean?
You know how a lot of cartoons and things, and when
Yeah.
you watch like the shuttle take off when you were a kid and stuff, you notice how it looks like it's just taking off straight up.
Yeah.
That's literally what they think it does the whole time. or it never did, and it's just a fake.
If
and
you
they
can't
built
believe
it so that people go like, "Whoa."
Tyler, if you here's the way I look at it too. If you can't believe that if you believe in flat Earth, you can't believe in football because you're literally throwing the ball up in a curved motion. You can't shoot an arrow because it, and that's what I mean. Even that basic knowledge of how gravity works is enough to show you there's a curvature.
Listen, you know what? Flat Earth societies are taking off all around the globe. Zing.
Zing indeed. So so anyway,
Well,
this is what's so frustrating what you were talking
you missed
about.
the part where she said, "I'm going to say something that's never been uttered in a NASA facility."
Oh my god.
And did you notice when she
The
said
Earth
it?
is flat.
Did you notice how when she was saying it, she was kind of like, okay, when you were young and you were doing something you knew you weren't supposed to, but you did it anyway.
Yeah.
That's what she looked like. She totally looked like, I'm totally not supposed
Oh
to be
my
doing
God,
this.
my
I don't
parents.
believe this at all.
She looks like a child.
I'm totally making enough money off this bullshit to not have a real job.
I don't think she's a real flat earther. That's the thing.
Me neither.
I think she just saw a market she could tap
Which we
into.
just got sucked into the whole conspiracy.
Yeah, dude.
We just got sucked into the conspiracy behind the conspiracy that Patty is steering us.
Yeah, I knew it. She's
Patty,
CIA,
Patty,
dude.
you are very attractive, but I'm sorry, but I can go up on Pornhub and find like 18 girls
Jesus
hotter than you
Christ.
right now.
Stop it.
Doing all sorts of stuff.
Do you think there's flat Earth porn? There's gotta be,
It
right?
would affect the it would affect the ejaculation. That's weird, man. When I hold it at like a 45-degree
Stop it,
angle,
stop it.
it looks like an Aaron Rodgers rainbow pass. Will you clean that up?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
That's totally fake though, man. Because
Tyler.
Earth is flat.
Oh,
It should
God.
just go straight onto your titties, but no, it had to go you. Straight on you.
Nobody's listening at this point. Somebody has crashed their car.
And it was me, metaphorically.
Oh God. So
You asked if there was flat Earth board. I took it and ran with it,
yeah.
dude. You should know better.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If there's a chance to make a dick joke, Tyler's gonna do it.
Do.
Anyway. I can't even how do you even follow that up? So they go to NASA, then they do a
No.
podcast together.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like she's like somebody asked, do you ever get noticed, like your face or your voice? She's like, no, that's never happened. And Mark's over here like trying to big time her, like, all the time, people love me
all the time. Do you see the big lump in my pants here, Patty? It's like,
the earth's
dude,
flat but my dick isn't.
which okay, so
You gonna brush past that joke?
I'm pitching a tent
That's not flat.
just for me and you.
You and me, Patty.
You know the only topographical features on a flat Earth? My boner.
Anyway.
Mountains ain't real. This wood is.
Why'd you go Forrest Gump?
Because they're dumb. They're
Jeez.
dumb. So that begs the whole,
Stop
like,
it.
Mark
You
Sargent.
be nice to these people.
Mark, I will, but Mark Sargent is like, da 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 da, and he lives with his mom. And then the second dude they talk to is like, we don't all live with our mom. And I'm pretty sure that second dude does. He can't afford that place.
Well, yeah, what does he do?
But the
What do
first
any of these people do?
We-
Does Mark
we s-
Sargent really make a
we
living
spoke
off
to
this?
2 of you, and we already have 100% success rate that you live with your mom. So why did you bring that up? Ironically,
That's the same. That's the guy that we've talked about. That's been the douchebag.
isn't it ironic?
Don't
yeah.
you think?
It's-
rain.
Is
Is rain real? How does rain happen if
You
the
know,
Earth
oh,
is flat?
you know how Alanis Morissette got clapped?
Tyler, explain time zones.
No.
Flat Earth explains that, doesn't it?
Mm-mm.
I mean, anyway, what do you want to talk about? You clearly want to talk about Alanis Morissette.
I just want to point this out because it's badass. Because I just read it. But Alanis Morissette had the perfect clapback to people who've been saying for decades that it's not ironic. Like, none of the things that happen in that song are ironic. They just are things that suck. And she recently clapped back hard, and she was like, yeah, that's the whole point of the song. That the song is about how things are ironic, and none of the things in the song are ironic. And isn't that ironic that the song called Ironic has nothing ironic in it? And it was like,
Whoa.
boom! My head exploded.
That wasn't the only thing.
That was fucking great. She is hot.
Anyway, back to Flat Earth. Why'd you look around?
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they're out to get me.
Oh, I know. This is a very secure bunker, though. I think we'll be fine. So, back to Flat Earth. Oh, man. So,
Rabbit hole, man.
yeah, they do their little podcast thing. And then don't we go back to the Globe Busters?
I think so. With their scientific...
So, I think that's the part where we find out about the 15-degree level thing.
It's about it's later on in the movie that they start talking about this $20,000 GPS, and it is the Globebusters. It's that tall guy who's he's the IT guy for pretty much the whole town of Lyman, Colorado. And he's one of the Globebusters, and so he's talking about, well, regular GPSs, but we have one that they use. It's like ultra laser precise, and one of our guys got it for like $20,000. Yeah. It's like, well, that's awesome and everything, but then you try to do all sorts of shit to it to make it do what you want it to do, which is not scientific at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I've probably the most annoying part of the whole thing is the science part of it, where it's like clearly you are people that don't accept basic science, and you're trying to apply that science to this belief. And that's what I really loved about the section where they talk to astrologers and stuff, because they're actually pretty understanding. And it's, to me, it was a cool thing to see, because you see a lot of stuff where people, I mean, we try to avoid it, but we do it.
His first name was Lamar, but he was the scientist in the bar towards the end of the movie
that did that speech.
And one thing that he said that really touched me, and not in that way, but that really touched me was that he said, like, you know, he was making the point to all these scientists, you know, hey, we have to be more understanding and find out why they, you know, have this, you know, system of beliefs or whatever. But these are potential scientists that were
right, that are just in reverse,
and they're looking at things and trying to solve the mystery.
Right.
Like, that was so cool. I was like, that's
that's the way to look at it.
That's true
too.
in a way.
Science itself,
They're
like,
still dumb.
Like that one guy explained in it too, where he said science itself is just, I have this truth right here at point B. Remember, he said, like, but point A, I have to logically show how to get there. Pretty much.
You know what would be really terrible?
But their problem is they can't get to B,
because
so then they keep moving B further away.
The less attainable it will be. It's kind of like people in Jesus.
Well, that's the I just saw a quote that I wanted to point out about this movie.
Yeah.
The director had a great point, and I think he really conveyed it by the end of this movie. I know that we've been taking our shots and we've been making jokes.
These are still human beings.
They're still people,
that.
but I think we shouldn't discredit that. We should be able to make fun of them.
Yeah.
Because you should be able to make fun of any group of people. People make fun of me for anything, I believe. Same
Pick
with you.
something.
So we're human beings.
Me too. Yeah.
So anyway, the director said, quote, "My dream would be that when people watch it, they take flat eartherism as an analogy to something they believe in, because it's so easy to demonize another group or another person for something they think, but you're kind of just as guilty if you do that." So he's saying,
looking at you, evangelical Christians.
But you're doing it now. Now you're demonizing them. You're just so not understanding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was something I really did take away from this.
That is pretty
cool. I was surprised.
And that one physicist said that too. The one guy who was talking.
Yeah,
about
the one guy that I said that was a great example of this, when they were talking to scientists again, he just said, if you cheat something to a kid and they fail and don't get it, it's not their fault.
Right.
You just have to find a different way to teach them.
Right.
And I thought that was great.
You can't just dismiss them.
Yeah, and I think that's
true.
That's something that really hits home in this documentary and what he tried to achieve, because it's just saying, like, just because they think this certain way, you don't have to treat them poorly. You just have to try and find a different way to reach them.
Exactly.
And it can be frustrating because it's so obvious.
Yeah, like, what the hell, man? You know, it'd be really funny if there was a whole group of people that got the tenets of AA and the tenets of science mixed up, right? So, like, the people who are trying to do science, they're going by the tenets of AA, which is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So that's why they don't use the actual scientific method, so all their science is crap. Because they don't do it over and over again. Because that's what you're supposed to do in science. But then with AA, they do the same thing over and over again, which is they get wasted. And they're terrible scientists, but great drinkers. True story.
I don't even know how to follow that up. But anyway, I wanted to get to the very end of this movie, and then we'll come back to the conference, because I do want to talk about the conference, which is like the big third act of this documentary. But the last thing we see the Globe Busters doing one of their wacky experiments where their idea was they were going to shine a light.
Where's the dude with the cool mustache? No, wrong. Sorry, wrong Busters.
But so I hate you. You make me crack with those super obscure references.
I hate you.
Anyway, we get to them. They're saying we're gonna shine a light. We're gonna cut a hole in this wall, shine a light through it. They're gonna have another guy stand 15 feet away and shine a light, or hold the. He'll have a light too, so you'll see both of them. And the thing was, because of their position, they said at 15 degrees, we should be able to have the lights go back and forth, kind of thing. The beams should meet. But here's the best part: if it doesn't, that means there's a curve and that you can't see them, right? So they do the experiment. The first light, they show it. Second light, they have a camera on it. There's fucking nothing. Nothing.
We're going to have to look at this from a different angle.
Yeah, he goes, this is interesting. And then it just gets to credits, and it plays the Black Keys Stop Stop, which is a great tune. Perfect for this movie. And it just shows that, and it goes, okay, we'll reach it over your head. And then he does. And it finally hits the light. So that means there's a curve. These same people that got this level that was 15 degrees improved. There's a curve.
And spent $20,000 to do it.
And then they go in the end credits, and they keep showing, yeah, I got to get it from a different angle. Well, there was weeds. The weeds blocked it.
I was, did you think I said weeds? No, I meant I was super high. Why do you think I believe this crazy shit?
Like the light wasn't high. I was high. Dude.
I was. I didn't say anything about weeds. I said there was a lot of weed and we were hotboxing in the car before the experiment.
But the Earth's flat anyway. Then he just walks away.
You know what's really funny though? I'm willing to bet a lot of money that most of the flat earthers do not smoke weed.
Probably. I don't even think they drink.
Start. Develop some alcoholism. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't think we should promote that, but
No, I definitely do not. I'm totally joking.
No, I know you're joking, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
But seriously, that would be funny.
So anyway, we're gonna go backtrack now and talk about the conference.
Back in time.
Back in time.
Don't
Don't you dare start with Huey Lewis, man, because I'll.
Is this future or 1999?
Where are we going this time? Stop. Just stop, because we're going to
Please
do
don't drive 88.
That was the chair.
Don't want to be late again. All right.
Are you done now? The conference.
The conference.
And this is where, I don't know how you kind of didn't have the same feeling from me, as me. I said that wrong. You had a different feeling to it than I did, is what I should have said.
Well, I'm ultra cynical, so.
Yeah, I came away watching it, seeing Mark at this conference, and while he did say some things that were like, oh boy, like when he said, when a kid, he did a Q&A section, but he does this whole speech, and people are clapping and stuff, and that was the moment where it really, the switch flipped in my brain, where like, these people just want to be accepted, and they unfortunately chose Flat Earth. And I say unfortunately because they get picked on, and they get treated this way because they can't just accept basic science, and it's frustrating.
Well, it's
and people shouldn't pick on them,
right?
And that's hard. But it's hard not to just be like, "What are you doing?"
Well, it's kind of like it's how culture started, really, and basically what it is people that have shown interest in other things, but have always been kind of shat on for it.
Yeah.
And there's finally somebody who's like, "I believe in you."
Right.
And it is real easy to be like, I was at the Jim Jones compound. I did not drink the Kool-Aid. I escaped. But I remember how persuasive he was. So I know of what I speak. By the way, it was a Flavor Aid, not Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, well he's cheap. So but yeah, and that
if I'm going to kill a bunch of followers, I got to do it on a budget.
And I understand your perspective on it. And
These packets are 25 cents less.
I understand how they can seem like they're in a religious group or a cult or something. It really does come off that way.
But I mean, that's why they cling to this theory, even when the evidence piles
They just
up.
want something to believe in.
They want to be unique.
Right.
They want to be special. They've kind of gone through their whole life without anybody ever saying to them, "Hey, you are special."
Well, and they're human beings.
Maybe you're not.
Jesus. But I was just gonna say they're human beings, and you make that joke. But I was just they're human. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be accepted. It's just they just believe in something. It's like being a listener to Alex Jones. You know, it's just something so off
You
the
just
wall.
really want to believe that he is real.
You want to believe the frogs are gay because of the
Gay
chemicals
frogs,
in
dude.
the water. Well, Alex Jones will be heavily featured on this show. But you see Mark have his big speech, but then there was some stuff I was like, oh boy. When a 12-year-old asked a question on a
Good for
Q&A.
you.
Then there was another one where he read a note or a letter from a fan saying that kids in school, she said the Earth rotates at 23-degree angle, and they're like, no, it doesn't. Like 3 kids, and I'm like, it's frustrating that they're getting into young minds like this.
You ever seen the Parks and Rec episode where Ron Swanson has to tell the 10-year-old girl about government?
Yeah.
Okay. It's exactly like that. And the mom gets pissed. She's like, hey, listen, after she's done with like high school and all that crap, she can get all sorts of stupid ideas.
Yeah.
But she's 10.
Yeah.
And you gave her a landmine. It's kind of like that.
I think, I think it's too far because I don't
encourage the kid and praise him for questioning. Certainly.
No, yeah, that's fine.
But make sure he understands, you know what, dude? Actually, you should really follow like science the way school should make you until
there's some things you just have to accept are true. There's just some things that are obviously true.
Hitler was a douche. Earth is not flat.
Simple stuff. Basic history. So, but yeah, that's the frustrating thing that
I just want to be a star, Jake.
I just wish they would
just like Mark Sargent.
Just accept he is a star. He is a huge star in the flat earth thing. They couldn't explain away the eclipse though, which made me laugh. Cuz I'm like, pretty obvious. You can't really explain that one away.
It's you know what's really dumb too is that if you understand like basic science and hey, listen. All fairness, I have never been in a spaceship above the Earth and seen a globe. Okay, fair enough. Sure. I have been in a plane really up high, and when you look out the window, you can see the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, there's like so many. So, there is nothing that tells me, oh, well, maybe the Earth is flat. Nothing. There's nothing that tells me that.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's nothing in.
And once you understand that, it makes Star Wars and Star Trek so much cooler.
It's true.
Like spatial relationships.
Yeah. Another reason why, you mentioned earlier you don't think flat earthers smoke weed. I think that's because stoners love space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's gonna be the case.
Whoa, man! Did you see? Oh,
dude,
well,
I went to space.
Apparently, this is the Hubble telescope taking a picture of itself. Did you hear that, Buffy?
Yeah, I got him.
Did you hear that, Mitch?
All right, let's wrap up this episode. This is Ben
Fitzroy.
Will you stop?
Yes.
I have to cut you off. Just keep going. Yeah, you're right. One of these days,
It's the dynamic.
I'm gonna let you just go off and tell me all the conspiracies you believe in.
Shot us to the stratosphere.
Yeah. Anyway, the Earth is not flat.
Yeah.
It is round, people. Remember that. Beyond the Curve, I do recommend it.
Behind the Curve. Yes.
I said beyond, didn't I?
I think
Behind the Curve. Yes.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. It's
worth the watch.
It's about an hour and a half.
Yeah. It's
quick.
Really 95 minutes.
Look, if you can binge watch a season of Parks and Rec or whatever. Which I totally do all the time.
I will say it does a great job of really showing the human side of the flat earther movement. And while I don't agree with it at all, and I think that we should scrutinize them a little bit to be like, this is just basic science. And I don't mean like, When I say scrutinize, I mean find what that guy said and find a way to reach them.
And tell them, like, look, guys.
We don't hate you. We don't think you're
It's just,
idiots. It's just this is what it is.
if you believe this, then it's really hard to trust your judgment on anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else.
And it's frustrating to try and get some, because these people are stubborn, man. At the end of the day, that's just what it is.
Well, we got evidence that the Earth is round. Well, we're gonna have to look at this from another angle.
Anyway, if you've seen it, I want to know what you guys thought about it. Yeah, this is another episode of Tinfoil Radio.
I'm doing the devil horns. Can't see it.
That's my co-host Tyler Allen. I'm Jake Williams. I don't know the next episode, because I kind of want to follow this up with the hollow Earth theory,
That could be fun.
where the Earth is round
I
but
think
it's hollow.
I think it's a segue that just kind of screams at you, hey, take me.
All right, hollow Earth. It is next week.
We'll do some research.
We'll do some heavy research on this because I like to think that the Earth is like a chocolate rabbit.
I like this.
Hollow.
I like this one a lot better, where instead of just like, hey, I'm going to tell you about something and then me reacting, I liked it better that I kind of had some knowledge.
Well, yeah, I really wanted you to watch this because I thought it would be really fun to review this movie. So yeah, we'll probably go with it. We're still learning out the approach. We're still trying to figure out how we want to do this.
But hey, in all fairness, until you texted me to watch that movie today, I hadn't done any research.
I know, bud.
So,
I know.
So
you're gonna do some research for Hollow Earth.
I do want to check that out. I want to find out about the mole men and the Morlocks.
So anyway, this has been another episode of Tinfoil Radio. Episode 3 will be about Hollow Earth. And we this show is fun. It's something I haven't done before, and we're having a good time, buddy. High five. And remember, if you've heard this,
We're holding hands.
if you've heard this message, we're already dead.
What is my problem?